Okay, it's carburetor cleaning time. I got this from my daughter's XR200 Honda motorcycle, but it's typical of most Japanese bikes. It's a Kion carburetor, similar to a Mikuni carburetor. The components look slightly different inside, slightly different locations, but they're almost identical. So the first thing you need to do is get your tasty beverage of choice. There we go. That's started. And remove the float bowl. Now, being a Japanese carburetor, these screws are not Phillips. You might think they are, and they're very close to a Phillips, but they have a little dimple in one corner, and that denotes a JIS. So the JIS has a different profile than the Phillips, and it does not fit in correctly, so you end up stripping out the head if the screws are tight and you use a Phillips screwdriver. Use a Phillips if you want, but damage can be done. Now, to get the bowl off, I usually take the screwdriver handle and give the bowl a wrap, and most of the time it comes off. Okay, there we are. Green as a frog's ass. You can use your dipping solutions and your whatever clean flow or gunk carburetor cleaner, but I found the best for my purposes is a product called PowerTune by Mercury, or Mercury Marine. They make it. The same stuff is also sold by Honda dealers, carburetor and combustion chamber cleaner, and it's not as terribly stinking as some of those other things, but it does not work immediately. So you just take this stuff and you spray it in, soaking it, and you're going to have to leave it soak for a while, but eventually it'll take out all of that gum and varnish. It'll dissolve it. You can place that in a receptacle there. You can take the float off. There you go, there's the float pin. And the float is actually stuck, or the float inlet needle is stuck. Oh, broke it loose. So there's the inlet needle and the float. You throw that in the solution, remove the other components. Put that in there. A diffuser. Now we got some jets. The slow jet or low speed jet, and using a quality screwdriver you can bring them out. If you use a rounded off screwdriver, you risk breaking off slipping out and damaging the slot. Now, some people will just buy new ones of these jets. You can clean them, but you should be able to see through them. And this one, you can't. So soak that in there. So this one happens to be a 6mm. Now it's going to take the whole emulsion tube and jet out at once, which doesn't really matter. But you're supposed to be able to see through that, and you can't. It's plugged. So now you also bring out the idle mixture screw. You want to take and crank it into lightly seated. Count the turns. There's half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. So 3 turns out is where it was. That's where you put it starting, as a starting point. So out comes the jet, and there's a little spring behind it. And drop that in there to clean. But what is also in there, and a lot of people will lose these, is a washer and an O-ring. I'll take that out in a moment. To help things along, I agitate the cleaner with an acid brush. You can use an old paintbrush, whatever. Just keep playing with it and it'll help it along. Although the best thing is just keep it submerged. I'm going to say for a couple hours. You can even leave it overnight. Cleaning the outside of the carburetor is up to you. It does not help the running of the motor. It's the inside that makes the difference. So I'm going to let that soak. Okay, fast forward to the next day, and I've dumped out the carburetor cleaner solution in the bowl into the tub. It's quite clean. There's a bit of pitting right down the bottom in the plug, but that's because it's a different alloy. I think that's zinc. So the carburetor bowl is clean. Same with the carb body. All the passages are clean. I use some brake cleaner and compressed air, blew it out. The jets are clean throughout, and that's the main and the emulsion tube, and then this is the slow speed jet, and this is where the gas needs to go through for your idle circuit, and if that's plugged, it won't idle well. Clean the float inlet needle, ready for reassembly. So there you can use whatever carburetor cleaner you want, but I use this stuff. PowerTune, Honda, as I said before, pretty well every manufacturer makes a version of it, and it removes carbon out of the combustion chamber, and it also cleans the gum and varnish. This here is the what's left. You can save that in a can, and you can use it as a dip tank, and it'll work until it gets so contaminated that it doesn't. And that's probably what I'll do with this. I'll put it in a coffee can and save it for next time I want to clean a carburetor, which is quite often with today's gas. That's it. Thanks for watching.